Hello, friends. Welcome to Science Talk. I'm your host, Jim Massa. Now, this is an interesting, I came across this abstract, and here's the title of it: Development of a Trajectory Model for the Analysis of Stratospheric Water Vapor. Now, this is part of a PhD dissertation that came out in 2016, and Timothy Robert Kobe is the author, and this is his doctoral dissertation at Harvard University. So what's this about? This is really fascinating. Here. To study stratospheric water vapor, a new trajectory model was created. The model is built from first principles specific to stratospheric motion and can run on any gridded data set. Basically divide locations up into grids, and it makes it easier to do measurements and determine, come up with the equations needed for modeling or for following, fluid dynamic aspects, etc. So they're saying that their model makes it more versatile than current solutions in place. The design of a new model was motivated by measurements of elevated stratospheric water vapor. Right there, that's important right there. Elevated stratospheric water vapor, which in situ measurements, in situ isotopic measurements, have determined to be tropospheric in origin. In other words, water vapor is being moved from the troposphere to the stratosphere. That is extremely interesting. A moist stratosphere has substantial feedbacks in the climate system, including radiative, chemical, biological effects. Additionally, elevated stratospheric water vapor is theorized as an important coupling in the historic transition to the Eocene 56 million years ago, as well as emergence from the Eocene 40 million years ago. Another 16 million years after the start of it. What was going on in the Eocene? What was going on 56 million years ago? Oh, that's right. We had the PETM, the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum. So what he's basically saying is that elevated stratospheric water vapor helps warm the planet. That's basically, we talk about radiated chemical bio, that's what he's basically saying. You put more water vapor into the stratosphere, it's going to couple with what goes on in the troposphere, and it's going to increase the temperature of the planet. This transition mirrors modern climate change, both in surface temperature and carbon dioxide increase. Boom. Basically saying we're following the same pathway to the PETM, that this increasing water vapor content in the stratosphere, coupling with what's going on in the troposphere, is a mechanism that will increase the likelihood of going back into another hothouse Earth. And what happened 56 million years ago is being mirrored in what is happening in the last century or so. However, the historical transition became much more extreme and settled to a state of warm temperatures from the equator to the pole, with little variation in between. That's important. In other words, the lack of latitudinal gradient in temperature is associated with a moist stratosphere which provides additional motivation for thoroughly understanding the effect of adding water vapor to the stratosphere in a climatological context. Lack of a latitudinal gradient in temperature. Right now, you have the cold Arctic and the hot tropics. Well, when you have the PETM happening, not so much. There's very little temperature gradient. That's why you can find dinosaurs up in Alaska. And basically, the water vapor content in the stratosphere appears to have an important role in that. The time evolution of water vapor enhancements from convective injection is analyzed by initializing trajectories over satellite-measured water vapor enhancements. The model runs show water vapor concentrations that remain elevated over the background concentrations for several days and often over a week, which is of the time scale that warrants concern over increased halogen-catalyzed ozone loss. Halogen is a reference to the family of chemicals that includes bromine, iodine, chlorine, fluorine, astatine, etc. By analyzing stratospheric wind during the summer months over North America using normalized angular momentum, because the Earth is a rotating body, a pattern of frequent stratospheric anticyclonic activity, clockwise, over North America emerges as a unique feature of the region. This provides a mechanism for the model persistent elevated water vapor validates observations. In other words, this might be the way that this mechanism is most likely explaining the data that's being collected, the observations being made. In a climate like today's, with increasing surface radiative forcing, the magnitude and frequency of convective injection may increase, with dramatic consequences on the climate system and human health. Now, of course, convective, we talk about convection cells. Hot air rises, cold air sinks, that kind of stuff there. Well, this rising convective cell might be bringing with it moisture that gets injected into the stratosphere. This to me is extremely interesting that we're seeing elevated stratospheric water vapor, and that this appears to be tied, coupled strongly with what's going on in the troposphere that helped, at least the evidence in using isotope measurements, basically said, oh, this helped bring on the PETM some 56 million years ago. And that basically what we're seeing now is following the same pathway, the same trajectory as 56 million years ago. I've done videos where some models have suggested that we could see a warming of 7 to 9, possibly up to 11 C by 2100. Right now, a lot of researchers are in the 5 to 7 ballpark, which is still significant in of itself. There have been researchers warning, that we are on the pathway to a hothouse Earth. And I've done videos of addressing that issue as well. Well, this might be one of the mechanisms that would promote this happening. So this is, I found this quite interesting and troubling, but from a scientific point of view, it's very interesting. The implications, of course, are very troubling. So it'd be interesting to find some papers on this, studying this mechanism and other aspects of increased water vapor in the stratosphere. So, another one of those. Stay tuned. Thank you for your time. Hello, folks. This is Jim here with Science Talk, asking you to please subscribe to my channel and to inform others of my channel and of the work that I do. Please share to social media platforms that you use. Also, as a reminder, don't forget to click the bell so that you know when I load up more videos. Finally, I ask that you support the work that I do by becoming a patron at patreon.com. Details in the description box below. Thank you for your support.